Hello guys, today, quick side note, this will be the last episode for a bit. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, about a month, and I'm going to come back with Fenn album reviews. I'm actually going to bring that back and do a set of episodes for that. And, and then go back to Fenn recommends. Um, so it's going to be a bit, so we're going to talk, for this one, we're going to talk about a really great movie. We're going to talk about Spirited Away today. Um, so this movie came out in 2001. It's rated PG. It's about 2 hours and 5 minutes long. It has 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb with about 600,000-ish, 646,000-ish user votes, and has 96% on Metacritic with 41 critics. It stars a David Daveigh. I don't know how to pronounce that. Chase, and she was in Lilo and Stitch, and Suzanne. I can't pronounce the last name. It's like Pleshette, and she was in the Bob Newhart Show. It was directed by Miyazaki, of course, and he also did My Neighbor Totoro. And let's see, on Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has 97% by critics with 188 critics, and 96% by audience people with about 337,000-ish audience people. The critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is Spirited Away is a dazzling, enchanting, and gorgeously drawn fairy tale that will leave viewers a little more curious and fascinated by the world around them. Very true. The movie is available to stream on HBO Max only. It's not available to rent anywhere. It is available to buy on Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, Vudu, and Microsoft Store. It was released on DVD, and it was released on DVD in 2003. So, God, what I can, so I've been watching a lot of Miyazaki movies lately, mostly because my sister and Corey love them, and I like them too a lot. So the thing about these movies that I love is they're anime style, but yet they're not quite. They're done like a movie. Like if you were gonna watch a regular live action, a very well done live action movie, it would be done like this. Only it's animated and animated beautifully. To me, when I think of high quality anime, this is the first thing that pops in my head. And it is classified as anime, but it doesn't go the route of exaggerated moments like something zany or crazy happens or something funny happens and characters have these exaggerated features and backgrounds or whatever. I feel like there's a technical term for those, but I don't know what it is. They never do that in these movies. They kind of play it very straight, and I find it refreshing because while I don't hate that front, in fact, in a lot of ways it can work well. I think the show I've seen it work best was My Hero. My Hero Academia. Somehow it makes it work really well. It's in the Death Note a little bit, but I don't think it sells it quite well. Um, but yeah, I really love it in this. Now, specifically Spirited Away, alright, what is this movie about? Basically, a girl and her family, they're moving and they stumble across a place. The parents get kind of mystified by the spell there, and they kind of get caught up in a spell. The girl is now stuck in this world of buried spirits, and she she ends up having to survive and work with the good people there and with the spirits there to try to find a way to get her family back, break the curse, and and probably and of course make friends along the way. Man, I've seen a lot of Miyazaki movies, all of them good. I haven't seen a bad Miyazaki movie yet. Slash Studio Ghibli. I know there's some confusion because I think a lot of people think Miyazaki movies and Ghibli movies, they're always the same, but I don't think that's quite true. I think there are some Studio Ghibli movies that don't involve Miyazaki, but I don't know. I'm not exactly an expert. My sister and Corey, they're more of the experts in those movies. I'm just getting into them. I think what I love most about these movies, and I think the reason why Spirited Away often gets looked at as the best, is because I think it just takes all the good parts about the Miyazaki movies in the past and just exuberates them. And I think a lot of it is exposure too, because this movie was lauded when it came out. It was considered one of the best things ever made. And you're wondering, well, what makes this different than My Neighbor Totoro, or Howl's Moving Castle, or Ponyo, or what makes this different than other movies of this kind? And I think because the story itself, I think I'm not quite sure why it makes Spirited Away different than those ones, but I think the biggest reason Spirited Away is different than those ones, and I think why it got such high praise and such high reviews, because it was, it just, it felt like the right movie to give it to. I think when you watch this movie and you see it and everything, I think it just shows the polish, the craft, and the fun, and the drama. Like, there's not a weak spot. There's not really any weak spots in any of these movies, in my opinion. I think the biggest reason why Spirited Away, of course, and another reason why I think Spirited Away is probably because of timing. I think it just came out at the right time. I think because I think a lot of the movies before then, I don't think they got as wide release as Spirited Away did, and I think Spirited Away, I think it might have been the first one that really got really big, because it was everywhere. The movie was released everywhere. I don't remember any of the the Ghibli movies or Miyazaki movies. I don't remember them being widespread like this one was. Now, in terms of good stuff, I mean, everything's well executed. Like any anime slash animated like ingredient for filmmaking and filmmaking ingredients in general, they're all well executed in this movie. There's not a thing in this movie that it's probably one of the most perfect movies I've ever seen. There's not a thing in this movie where I think, oh, they could have done better there or done better there. The only thing I wish is I wanted to see more. Okay, and that's the best thing about movies like this. It leaves you wanting more, but yet you don't want a sequel. Because the problem with doing sequels is that it's very tempting to do a sequel to retread, to do the same shtick. And to be honest, it gets to a point where, you know what, I just want to rewatch the movie and just stick with that. And yeah, you've seen it a gajillion times, but is that any better than watching a sequel that's just doing the same shtick? I mean, it might be a slightly different filter, but it feels tired and it may not be as well executed. So thank God they didn't do that. And man, there's just, I think, because the thing with Miyazaki movies is that they have these iconic characters. And I think, like I said, I think the biggest reason why Spirited Away is because think about it. Most of the people my age, like I'll say my age is probably about mid 20s. I was born in the mid 90s ish. A lot of it is the movie came out in 2001. I would have been around 6. Um, and everyone my age group, the people who shop at Hot Topic and Corey's age, my sister's age, they were all born mid to late 90s. So when this movie came out, that was prime watching for people my age, and so it was big there. And then the other stuff, like the later stuff and the older stuff, that came later. But I think for a lot of people, Spirited Away was the first movie they saw. Hell, it was probably the first Miyazaki movie, and the only one I ever saw when I was a kid until recently, and that's saying something, really. Even I caught a glimpse of Spirited Away, and I wasn't even a big anime watcher when I grew up. I was hardly into anime at all. Even that kind of style, I wasn't really into, and even I saw Spirited Away at some point. I think it's just that movie just got exposed everywhere. I think the previous movies, I think the reason why this one gets lauded mainly isn't because it's necessarily better or anything than the other movies. It just got the most exposure because it came out at a time where his reputation was at a point, it was perfect. It was perfect timing. Like for example, if you switch around that movie with My Neighbor Totoro, like switching around, have My Neighbor Totoro air at that time, the way everything was built up with the movies and everything, it probably would have been considered the best ever. And that's my opinion. Now, I could be missing something on some things. I think out of all the Miyazaki movies, this one might have the most iconic characters. It might have the best score. It might have the best voice acting. It's hard to say because, in my opinion, I haven't seen any one that's done bad at either. And man, I could dedicate a month of these episodes to Miyazaki films, and I might do that sometime. I haven't really done a lot of theme months. I kind of did a thing where I did some James Dean stuff like a couple years ago, but I haven't done any months where I'm just gonna cover this kind of film or this actor or whatever. And a lot of reason why is because, well, mainly a lot of times when reviewers do that, they usually have a little extra pyrotechnics in their show, and this is just a vlog series. It's not anything too crazy. It's just my thoughts sharing with you guys. And if you guys get a chance to see this, sharing this, and if you feel it, share your thoughts back with me. and conversing there. It's just kind of the point of it, really. And for anyone, of course, looking for wanting to see something and they're not quite sure if they want to watch it or not, and they don't, and they want something like this to check it out. But yeah, overall, this is man, this is a great movie. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just so well good. It's so well made. Um, and and yeah, I think that's always the burning question, like favorite Miyazaki movie, and everyone says Spirited Away. A lot of people do. Some people may say My Totoro. I know Corey's favorite's probably Howl's Moving Castle. I don't know what my sister's favorite one is. To be honest, I think mine is probably Spirited Away. Um, but man, there's so many others to see. I think the biggest reason why the movies do as well as they did is because they are very, very, very original. They never feel copycat. They never feel like a ripoff. They are genuine, original, well executed, well thought out stories. And it's becoming more and more of a rare thing nowadays. I'm not saying every movie nowadays is bad, because that's not the case. I mean, look at the MCU. But I think it's very tempting nowadays to just kind of so much movie stuff gets released. I know I'm kind of going off topic, but it's somewhat related. That it's so much stuff gets released that it's easy to kind of go with the tropes, easier and easier all the time. And I feel like a movie like this just reminds people, and especially me, um, and you know what, a lot of movies do this for me. Whenever it just reminds me, you know what, movies can be incredibly powerful. Movies can be life changing, like a TV show, of course, like a book or a song or an album or a video game even. They can be life changing. They could get people through the day. They could get young kids through so many things. I mean, geez, imagine a young kid just having a terrible day, like keeps getting shit on, just wants a break. He finally gets to turn on his VHS, DVD player, PS2, CD player, whatever, PC, and he gets to do this thing that he loves. He gets to watch Spirited Away. He gets to play. He gets to play Super Mario Brothers. He gets to play. He gets to listen to the new album sound from his favorite group, or this, or something like that. He gets to escape. That's the biggest thing. It's not just escaping. It's feeling fulfilled. It's feeling like you just went on a journey. You met friends, and you felt like you grew and became stronger and better. And that's what these things do. And now, granted, does everything need to have that impact? Not necessarily. Some things can be fun, but it doesn't matter what you're feeling. It doesn't matter if you feel stronger, weaker, horrified, scared, humorous, smiley, dramatic. It doesn't matter what you're feeling. What matters is, did the movie did the movie give did the movie was the movie good quality? Did it do what it promised you? Did you get what you wanted? Not only did you get what you wanted, but but did people in there give a shit? Because that's my biggest thing. I can forgive a movie for a lot of things. I like a lot of movies that technically aren't good. But if it's something like Spirited Away, you can't you can't you can't deny it, you know. And I think, and like I said, like by the end of it, it's just all about when I watch it, I'm like, you know what, did people who want this, did they give a shit? Did they just spend a minute just to think, let's do something we haven't quite done yet. Let's push the envelope. Let's try something new, or let's execute this action well. Like another example is probably horror movies. A lot of them aren't really like Friday the 13th movies. A lot of them technically aren't good movies, but I watch them and I see them. I'm just like, you know what? There's something in these movies that may not be good, but there's something in them that makes them feel like a better overall movie than some movies released nowadays. I know I crap a lot on current stuff in general. I swear I'm not a hipster. I swear. But And there's a lot of good stuff nowadays too, but especially for a while TV was king. I don't know what is happening now with everything, but overall, I just feel like Spirited Away to me reminds me of like when you do something very well and you give people this journey, these memories that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives. That's hype. That's real. That's legit. That is something to be proud of. That is something that should be. That is, to me, that's equivalent of something like a literary work. Like everyone makes a big deal about Huckleberry Finn and all these literary classics, but we don't talk about classics and other things. We don't talk. I mean, classic movies, that talk's becoming more common. Classic video games becoming common as well. But I like to see more of a push of those things being considered equals to like those things, because those things can trigger thoughts, opinions. Hell, it can even boost knowledge to a degree. It can make people think, make people discover, make people feel. Just because it's not a book doesn't mean it's not legitimate, and that's kind of what I feel like. I mean, granted, it doesn't have to be like fine work. I mean, it's fine. Popcorn action's fine. I mean, hell, there's some of my favorite movies are popcorn movies, but even those movies can have that. They can have that feeling of we gave a shit. That's all I think any kid or anything wants to see, even if the movie or product itself isn't necessarily good, just to kind of have that feeling that this gave me something that I could carry with me. And I always felt like that's the biggest thing with these things. I know I went on a tangent in this one. A lot of this is related to Spirited Away, believe it or not, because Spirited Away is one of those things. And if you're going to take time to watch this, keep in mind that this isn't the only thing Studio Ghibli slash Miyazaki did, slash and/or Miyazaki did. They did a lot of movies like this, and I'm going to cover them at some point in the future as well. But for now, if you're just getting into it, I recommend starting with Spirited Away and going from there. And in terms of availability, this movie's on DVD everywhere. It's not hard to find. So, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna say about it. Longer episode, but it's gonna be a minute before I do one of these again, so well worth it. But yeah, guys, I highly recommend this movie. Great movie. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. In case you want to chat with me, Mike, or anyone else at the Campy Company, you don't want to use the YouTube comment section, we do have a couple options. The first one is we have a Discord channel. You can find a link to that in the About page / About section of our channel. We also have a discussion tab in our channel as well. You can access that through a PC or laptop computer. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.